Appreciate you joining us, sir. My first question to you is on this current pandemic, which of course has gripped India, but also the entire world. What is the latest situation in Thailand, sir, as a result of the coronavirus pandemic?
Things are much better, and we are already in phase 3 of easing up. Actually, as of today, there have been 3,125 infections from the beginning. Only 80 remain in hospital receiving medical treatment, and total deaths, is 58. One death is too many, but we know COVID has been tough on everyone, so 58 deaths. And we have not had any local transmission within Thailand for the past 16 days. All the new cases have been Thais that have been repatriated from overseas. There have been, I think, 3 or 4 cases from India.
Okay.
So things are on the mend.
Okay, that's certainly reassuring news, sir. If we talk about Thai nationals, though, in India and Indian nationals in Thailand, have Thai nationals in India had to be repatriated back? Also, have you had to rescue or assist the Indian government in rescuing Indian nationals who were stuck in Thailand? How has this been done, sir, and streamlined?
Okay. So we've organized so far 16 repatriation flights. Basically, our embassy and the 3 consulates general, in Chennai, Kolkata, and Mumbai. We organize the charter flights. The repatriates, they pay for themselves. By the end of June, we will have repatriated 3,157 Thais back to from India back to Thailand, and that will be it, I think. In fact, for the flight that I'm having this weekend, I'm finding that there are more Thais that have changed their mind. They want to remain in India rather than go back because they can sense, with the easing of lockdown, that the economic opportunities are there, that the reason that they came here in the first place. So I actually find it a challenge to fill the 220 seats that I have on the plane leaving this Sunday. And in addition, some of the people that have gone back, they're also asking to come back.
Right.
But that's not as easy as they wish. We have to wait.
Okay. His Excellency, there are going to be, huge ramifications also of the current pandemic and the lockdown, which has been affected by various countries, including India. And different sectors are going to be affected, world over. One of the main sectors which is going to be affected is, of course, going to be tourism. What is going to be the impacts of the current COVID situation on tourism sector?
2019 was one of our best years in Thailand. We had almost 40 million tourists and massive revenue. Tourism accounts for around 17% of our GDP. Exports account for around 70%. But this year, we expect, compared to last year, arrivals and revenue will be down by about 60%. The tourism sector has been hit hardest by COVID, compared to any other crisis that we have encountered before.
Yes.
So this year, the target, from last year's 40 million, we expect 16 million, 16 compared to 40. And with income revenue of around 1.78 lakh crore in tourism revenue. It's still a big income earner. Normally, when countries go through crisis, we usually say the tourism sector will be the quickest, to pick up because it's unlike production, unlike setting up factories. This is quicker. You don't need such long time for investment. But in the case of COVID, that is not the case because it's a pandemic, there's viral infection and so on. So we have to ensure that the tourism infrastructure is ready because otherwise if you open too soon, you'll go back to the second phase of COVID-2 or COVID-3. So until we have vaccine or until we have good sanitary and health measures, we have to take it slowly.
No, fair enough. And, also, is there a plan that you're setting in place? Is there a strategy that is going to now come into effect perhaps in the next couple of months or the next 3 to 4 months in the latter half of the year on how to revive tourism, sir?
Yes.
On how to get back Indians to travel to Thailand?
Yes. Yes. As I mentioned, we're now in the third phase of easing control measures, right? So in Thailand, things like shopping malls, similar to India, golf courses, health and wellness shops, they're gradually opening. Now, that will be, and the opening in Thailand will be more initially for the domestic tourism. First, within the provinces. In India, it would be equivalent to within the states and then across states. And once you've tested it domestically, then you open it up to maybe regional tourism and then further afield. So we envisage that it'll be like nearby countries, short haul flights, and so on. But there's also room for things like that people have been talking about, the travel bubble, the fast lanes between pairs of countries or even regions within countries, like Singapore and China, Australia and New Zealand. Those things we can think about. Basically, it's about health risk management. A lot of people are very frustrated. They want to go travel. They want to reunify with their families and so on. But constantly, the balance is between health and economics. I try to explain that to people, but people have hearts, and then and they are also emotional. So logic and emotion are two things that we have to find a good balance. Today, I announced that the first Indian person who has a work permit in Thailand will be given a certificate of entry from this embassy. So he can go back and continue his business in Thailand. So it will start like that. And then people who want to go for tourism, they ask, when can I go and so on. It will come later.
Okay.
The first Thai international flight will unlikely happen until August. You know that a lot of airlines have been hit.
Yeah.
It's the same with Thai International. So it's undergoing bankruptcy procedures and, hoping to come back. And so that's why they won't be flying back soon, but the earliest will be August. India is an important market for Thai International. It's a money-making market. But from what I have heard, when they do come back, they will come back to Mumbai and to Delhi with less flights, less frequency as before, compared to before.
So as you hope for tourism to pick up gradually and of course people-to-people ties to commence once again, is it perhaps also important right now, Ambassador, to highlight, a historical connect of the two nations, be it the Buddhist connect between India and Thailand, the Sanskrit connect, your airport is also called the Swaran Bhumi Airport in Bangkok.
Yes. Everyone starts with the historical connect, the cultural connect. But I believe the beach connection is quite strong as well, because the Indians that go to Thailand, they do feel the familiarity of the language, of the words. When I send people back to Thailand, I say they're going back to Matupum, which is motherland, from your language, Mata and then Bhumi. So it's very much in our blood, but we have to take that, what we have in common, and gain dividends from it, to take the culture, the tourism to other things, to more trade and investment, to more investment, and so on. So yes, we hope. I mean, Indian market is one of the important, ones for us, very important. Last year, we almost hit 2 million. But we were hoping for 10 million by 2035. Okay, so we're still on that tangent. And in the meantime, with COVID, what we're trying to do, the Tourism Authority of Thailand, they have office in Mumbai and in Delhi, and then my own 4 offices, we're trying to keep Thailand on people's minds. Okay, to have Thailand as the top of the mind destination. And so we try to update people on what's happening and so on. I know what people want to hear is when can I fly? But we're not at that stage yet.
Okay.
But we don't want people to forget about Thailand.
Indeed. And do you also believe, that in this new world order that will be developing in the post-COVID world, there will be greater opportunities for India and Thailand to forge closer ties? There will be huge potential collaborative opportunities, do you believe, sir?
Yes. In the post-COVID, and maybe a little bit before COVID, people were retreating, to within the national borders, the rise of nationalism, and then the receding of multilateralism. But if anything that we can learn from COVID, it should be that for things like health security, problems concerning bankruptcy of countries, of global businesses, no country has enough resources to do it themselves. So organizations like World Health Organization or stronger nations helping less affluent nations, these things still need to be there, because a well-to-do, if I were the only country and I have all the wealth in the world, but my neighbors, have all the disease, I cannot sell to anyone and so on, it doesn't make sense. This morning I was at an economic webinar, and we were talking about a more self-reliant India. And everyone agreed that a more self-reliant India doesn't mean an India that isolates itself from the rest of the world, but it means that it has to do whatever it can within the borders of India, to ensure that connectivity is good, ease of doing business is there, that we look after, our guest workers, migrant workers, that everyone has at least minimum welfare. But in order to grow beyond, the potential of just India, then you have to reach out internationally. So I'm thinking that for Thailand and India, India has its Atmanirbhar Bharat, right, or self-reliant India. On the other side of the border, you have ASEAN, the 10 Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So we too have to grow stronger from within, because COVID has shown that a lot of our response is in words, but we need to respond in the same way that India responds as one nation. So the ASEAN region needs to respond together as if we were a unified economic and political entity. Now, if these two grow stronger from within and we link up, you can imagine, what the economic dividends, the political dividend, and then the welfare dividends would be. So that's the kind of thing that I think COVID should make us think, more beyond what we had done before, because we cannot just go back, to post-COVID and then continue.
Exactly.
Things have changed beyond that point.
Very rightly put, and as you said, you're calling for the strengthening of ASEAN, and perhaps that's something that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also strived to do in the past. But you also said earlier that you are hoping that the strengthening of ties moves beyond just tourism ties to trade, to economic opportunities. Do you also believe perhaps security collaboration is needed to combat security challenges, the terror challenge as well? There is scope for security collaboration between our two countries as well.
Actually, people tend to just mention ASEAN, BIMSTEC replacing SAARC and so on. But in fact, in BIMSTEC, the shift has shifted from the economic side to the security side. And that is something that the country like Thailand is very happy about, because we can share intelligence. India has very good intelligence. India has has strength in maritime security. And so the relationship between our security agencies, our armed forces, especially Navy, is very good. And last year, and also up to before COVID, I was trying to get some deals, to buy equipment and so on, to sort of give strength and confidence to the relationship. But it hasn't happened. And now with COVID, all the budgets are being trimmed, especially the military budgets. But anyway, the joint training and so on will continue. It's on a positive path, but I can say that there's more work to be done, but it's on a positive path.
Okay. His Excellency, also, speaking of COVID particularly, do you believe with the entire world hunting for a vaccine currently,
yes,
perhaps India and Thailand can collaborate on that front
yes,
as well to bring
yes,
about an effective cure, a possible vaccine for COVID?
We get daily updates from the WHO in Geneva, where, of course, India is the chair of the executive board, right? On May the 1st, Prime Minister of Thailand and Prime Minister of India, they spoke on the phone. And one of the points that they also agreed upon is collaboration on research in the context of COVID-19. Prime Minister Modi congratulated Thailand on our job well done, in controlling COVID. But we are a small country, compared to India. And I think India has done very well for the size. I'm living comfortably here. All the Thai repatriates, when they remember, they ask me, when are you going back? I said, I'm not going back. My job is here. And none of my officers are going back. Even though I say that we have seats on the plane this Sunday, none of them are going back. Yes. Our job is here. Now, on the vaccine, Thailand is also working on a vaccine. And now we've moved from trials in mice and lab rats to monkeys. In the best case scenario, it'll be ready next year. But what I read this morning from WHO is that they are encouraging, the race to develop vaccines so that we have choice. And then the next issue is to ensure that people have access. The COVID crisis has brought to the fore, issues like macroeconomic stability has to go with social stability, yes? And then connectivity. You can have all the resources in the world, but if there are no connections, so we have to work on connectivity, logistics, travel facilitation. I mean, it has shown where the weaknesses are. Maybe I shouldn't say on public TV, but we have not sent a diplomatic pouch to Thailand since the lockdown. A lot of people would say diplomatic pouch is the lifeblood of the embassies. But in fact, what is the lifeblood of the embassies? IT. So that's what has come into place. And then food security. Yeah. So now a lot of countries are thinking, like households think about food security, but what if the country doesn't have any food? In Maldives, all of their food is imported. So when the Thais are stranded there, they don't have food. And I'm informed by my ambassador in Sri Lanka who looks after Maldives, a Thai person needs $200 to $300 to survive in Maldives during lockdown. So they were a priority for us to repatriate. Okay. Then, of course, health security, right? And everyone should have that. And of course, labor, productive labor, productive security. And the last one, which is the most important, because otherwise people will come into the streets, is inclusiveness. I can't be doing well while you're not doing well, then I wouldn't be secure, right? So it has to be inclusive. And people are starting, like in India, to think about minimum wage, so the welfare aspects. And of course, the other one that I mentioned earlier during COVID is how nice it is outside. And it means that we can do it. It's not like beyond control. You can't, you need to turn back the clock 20 years. You don't, because it has shown 2-3 months of lockdown, AQI is much better. So we have to sit, reflect, and see what we want for our future together.
Very valid statements made by you there, His Excellency. Very quickly on this Atmanirbhar Bharat push that you just
Yes.
referred to as well, and the PM's call for self-reliant India. Are there lessons to be learnt in self-reliance from Thailand as well for India?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yes. We are our king, past king, King Rama the Ninth. Rama is word from India again. When he came up with the sufficiency economy philosophy, the first time a lot of people heard about that, they thought, oh my God, Thailand is going to turn in on itself, close itself to, the international community. It's not like that. Now, we've already agreed that a more self-reliant India means a stronger India that remains engaged internationally. And that has been what we have been doing with sufficiency economy philosophy, because at that time we suffered the 1997 financial crisis, or which is also known as the Tom Yam Goong crisis, hot soup, hot and sour soup, which Indians like. So one of the things from Atmanirbhar Bharat I can see is that in terms of supply chains, we can work on automotive. We are already working on automotive. We have suppliers here, but now it's EVs, and you can move down to, motorcycles, automobiles, EVs, trains, aerospace. That is one value chain. And the Thais can come over, with the Japanese and the Koreans. And I heard the Vietnamese want to make EVs here. The food value chain, that we can do here, strengthening India while also feeding the world. And of course, real estate, which I'm talking about tourism. At one point in time, a Thai hotel chain was thinking of buying a few Leela hotels. I'm so disappointed that they didn't win the bid, But it's things like that. And then, of course, medical tourism and infrastructure we're already doing. We built Kolkata Airport.
Right.
We're doing the Mumbai Underground, Delhi Underground we've done. But